Effects of Echo Chambers and Mass Media Control on Modern Society by J.T. Bjornson. In a world of unlimited access to information, we've become more polarized than ever before. While the internet has connected us in so many ways, it has also created echo chambers, which are digital bubbles where our beliefs are reinforced and our opposing views are excluded, due to an algorithm we, as well as companies, control. From Orwell's 1984 to today's social media landscape, controlling information has always been a tool of power. The past was erased, the erasure was forgotten, the lie became truth. Whether by governments or corporations, the aim is the same: to narrow the range of thought and control the narrative. But in the digital age, the consequences are far reaching. In 1984, George Orwell warned, "The aim of newspeak is to narrow the range of thought." Written in 1949, Orwell imagined a society where the government not only controlled information, but erased the past to shape its future. In Orwell's world, the government controlled all media, businesses, and even the thoughts of its people. The truth was malleable and altered at will by the party. Today, the control of information is in the hands of tech companies that push agendas through their personalized content and algorithms. The only difference is these companies aren't controlled by governments, but they wield just as much power over the narrative. Social media has been engineered to keep us inside our own ideological bubbles. These digital echo chambers amplify only the voice that agrees with us. Algorithms are designed to show us what we want to see, reinforcing our beliefs and creating a cycle of confirmation bias. Until they become conscious, they will never rebel, and until after they have rebelled, they cannot become conscious. These platforms use algorithms to recommend content tailored to our interests. The more we like, share, and comment on videos or stories that align with our views, the more the platform feeds us similar content. This leads to selective exposure, where we actively avoid information that challenges our belief. Research shows that even those who know information is false or exaggerated are still influenced by it. This isn't just about preference, it's about cognitive shortcuts we all fall prey to, leading us deeper into our ideological corners. Confirmation bias is a powerful force. It drives us to seek out information that validates our beliefs and ignores anything that contradicts them. Over time, this leads to reinforcement of belief bias, where we begin to view evidence in a way that supports our existing worldview rather than objectively. As we become more and more exposed to homogeneous information, we grow more confident in our beliefs that even if those beliefs are based on a false or misleading information, the result is a polarization that deepens the divide between us and others. This self-reinforcing cycle leads to the breakdown of meaningful discussion and problem solving. According to Matteo Zanelli from PNAS, the topic of vaccines and abortion on Facebook and Twitter respectively show a strong correlation between the leaning of a user and the average leaning of their nearest neighbors. Similar behavior is found for different topics from the same social media platforms. According to an article from Brown University, the impact of polarization is undeniable. Political polarization in the United States has grown rapidly over the last 40 years, more so than in countries like Canada, the UK, Australia, or Germany. In fact, research shows that Americans are now more politically divided than ever. In 1976, the gap between Democrat and Republicans were relatively narrow, but by now, 2016, it has more than doubled. They found that in 1978, the average American rated the member of their own political party 27 points higher than members of other major parties. By 2016, Americans were rating their own party 45.9 points higher than the other party. On average, in other words, negative feelings towards members of the other party compared to one's own party increased by an average of 4.8 points per decade. The divide doesn't stop at politics. It seeps into every facet of life. In our increasingly polarized world, distrust and resentment flourish, and meaningful compromise becomes increasingly rare. Our communities, once bound by shared concerns, now feel like battlegrounds. This is causing our greatest democracies to crumble into an unintelligible banter between two groups. Misinformation thrives in these echo chambers. Studies have shown that false news spreads faster and wider than the truth. The algorithms driving social media platforms reward content that evokes strong emotions, whether positive or negative. As a result, misinformation is often amplified because it plays on our fears, our anxieties, and our biases. Even when we know the information is false, we remain desensitized and influenced by it. This creates a false consensus effect where we assume that everyone shares our opinions, further isolating us from viewpoints. And as we continue to consume similar content, we become less and less likely to recognize the manipulation at play. Breaking free from the echo chamber is possible, but it requires conscious effort. We must seek out diverse sources of information rather than relying on one news outlet or social media platform. We should make it a point to engage with a variety of perspectives. According to Jessica Kohler, by becoming aware of these influences and intentionally seeking diverse perspectives, we can open our minds to new ideas, challenge assumptions, and build empathy. Approaching the media with skepticism is key. We must ask questions, look for evidence, and challenge assumptions. Most importantly, we need to actively engage with people who hold different views. Through respectful conversation and active listening, we can begin to detect false information, challenge our own biases, and open our minds to new ideas. In many cases, we receive the most disinformation from the social media on our phones. If we can take the approach of skepticism and intentionally attempt to find the bias in our sources, we will be able to break out of an echo chamber. It is not only us that must make attempts, though. The government should return to a formal law requiring information spread through platforms to be checked for biases and misinformation so it never infects the citizen's mind. The digital age has brought us closer together, but it's also made us more susceptible to division. The challenges we face today is not just about finding common ground. It's about finding the courage to listen, to learn, and to break free from the chains of the echo chambers that divide us. As algorithms continue to dictate what we see, it's up to us to take back control of our minds, societies, and conversations. Now, the real question is, will we?